All right, Mike check. All right. Shalom Malakim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, Rakati Yahweh, Rakati Yahweh Shai, Rakati Yahweh, Rakati Yahweh Shai, Rakati Yahweh, Rakata Yahweh Shai. We give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to all our Akim there that's doing the work in sincerity and charity with humiliation all across the four winds. To you I salute. To the sincere Akwatim out there doing their due diligence in the servitude of their husbands first and foremost, and in the servitude of their households and the teaching of their children. Shalom. Sister Brother Yahshua from GMS Bahamas Camp. Back at you with a brief lesson. And there's two things that I wanted to touch on. The first being I came across this article, right? Went into a lot of athletes, they are slowly moving away from using Bluetooth devices, Bluetooth headsets and such, and it's for a number of reasons, and a lot of times things are considered, a conspiracy theory until it's not, right? And let me see if I can figure out how to pull up one of these articles. Yeah, yeah, it says here, let me pull up this article right here, right? And it says here, have professional athletes stop using Bluetooth wireless headphones due to radiation. Yeah, Salakia. Let me see. It seems as though whenever I change, all right, gone. All right, Salakia. Yeah, man. It seems as though every time I try to share this this link, it will cut out. See. All right, gone. Seems all right. That's it right there. So now, well, where was I? Yeah. So the title says how professional athletes stop using Bluetooth wireless headphones due to radiation and electromagnetic fields being emitted from them. And the precept what I brought out is 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, which says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And we know this devil is full of different tactics, different trains, different thoughts, different, everything. They say something is harmless, and then later on down you find out that it's harmful, and detrimental to your health. See? And all of us, we surrounded in a world filled with Bluetooth. You know what? I'll just speak from here on because I see it as though every time I share it, it cuts out. But we are filled in a world with wireless devices, whether it be Bluetooth, whether it be Wi-Fi. Shoots this right here is a wireless device. So but we subject unto these things. You see. Now the article says a professional at least stop using Bluetooth wireless headphones due to radiation and electromagnetic fields being emitted from them. It says here, in recent weeks, a claim has been circulating on social media that professional athletes have stopped using Bluetooth wireless headphones because of the radiation and electromagnetic. fields or EMFs emitted by such devices. The clip contains images of athletes wearing wired headphones, suggesting that players have switched back to wired earphones out of health concerns. Now, Bluetooth headsets and wireless headsets is a big thing in the athletics field. You see, but now, a lot of athletes are switching back to using the wired. You see, because these things emit, radio frequencies. You see, and according to Esau, according to their science, you see, they say this thing is harmless, right? It says, as we continue on, the reality is less dramatic. While some athletes have indeed been spotted using wired headphones, there's no evidence of a widespread shift away from Bluetooth. A quick Google search showed that wireless headphones are still a common accessory for athletes on game day. It says the speculation gained traction in part because of a comment made by NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who once joked about his preference for wired instead of wireless headphones, describing them as the ones that protect my brain from harmful electromagnetic emissions. Right? And he said that jokingly, but you know, uh, there's truth in the joke, right? It says his remark has since been cited as proof that top athletes are worried about radiation. But while Rogers may believe it, his statements reflects personal suspicion, not scientific consensus. And Esau like to go with their science. You see, they they would do away with your speculation or your belief system because it doesn't line up with their science or what they considered, their science or what they considered truth. You see, when you read this, it says scientific research paints a very different picture. Bluetooth headphones emit non ionizing radiation at extremely low levels, far below the safety thresholds set by international regulators. Bodies like the World Health Organization, Healthline, and routers have all reviewed the evidence and found no confirmed link between Bluetooth use and CNCR, neurological disorders, or other health risks. Now, you see what names they use there, the WHO. Come on now, those the ones that said the C19 job was harmless. You see, we are not ignorant of his devices. So now, I, this when I came across this, the first question would pop in my mind: how does Bluetooth actually work? You like anybody? You ever thought about how do these devices connect with each other without physically touching each other? Right. So I did some research. So when I look up how does Bluetooth work, it says Bluetooth works by using short range radio waves to transmit data between devices operating in the 2.4 gigahertz frequency band. So when you look at it, it still is using radio waves. Radio waves causes vibrations. Our bodies are susceptible to vibrations regardless how small or minute it may be, right? It says when devices are paired, they connect directly, bypassing the need for a Wi-Fi router and use a technique called frequency hopping spread spectrum to avoid interference by hopping between 79 different frequencies hundreds of times per second. So these frequencies happen so rapidly that like for it to contain a consistent connection, these things have to be rapid, right? So it says by using short range radio waves, right? So when you look it up, what are radio waves, right? So by definition, it says radio waves are an electromagnetic wave of a frequency between about 10 and, and 10 to the power of 4 and 10 to 11 or 10, 12 hertz as used for long distance communication. It says radio waves are a type of electromagnetic radiation with the longest wavelengths in the electromagnetic spectrum used extensively for telecommunications and broadcasting. They are a form of energy that travels at the speed of light and have frequencies ranging from a few kilohertz to a few terahertz, right? So now when we look at it, all these are forms of radiation. You see, all these are actual forms of radiation, and radiation causes what? Eventually, it causes CNCR. When you look at it, we are not ignorant of his devices. You see, when you look at these different devices, when you think about your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, your TVs, your antennas, and all these different things, we are constantly surrounded by these things. You're constantly surrounded by Wi-Fi. You're constantly surrounded by Bluetooth via your wireless devices. When you go inside the vehicle, you're inside a smart vehicle, so you're constantly surrounded by that. When you got your cell phone on you, you're constantly surrounded by radio waves, and your body is daily and basically every day bombarded by these radio waves. You ever notice when you, let's say, if you was to leave your phone home, and let's say you go for a hike, through the forest or wherever, your body has a completely different feel than if you have your phone with you. There are a lot of Apostle Gabar did a video on that. When he walked through the forest, it called Shinren Yoku. We call that forest bathing. You basically detox yourself, from these radio waves. You have a completely different feel. And what comes to mind, that same event what happened with that stabbing, with that Jake and that Ukrainian lady. And it was reported that he told his sister that he basically couldn't control himself. They whatever device that is they put inside him, they send a frequency to that, and he didn't even know he did it. And these are the type of things what we dealing with in this world. You know, the type of things was going on now. We ain't ignorant of his devices. You know, the scriptures say, you know, the devil as a roaring lion cometh about seeking whom he may devour. We have to be circumspect in these times. You have to be vigilant in these times and diligent in this truth. You have to be vigilant and diligent. You see, because if you aren't, you would be you would be taken. You wouldn't see when the waster comes. You wouldn't see when sedition happens. You would be taken. You know, precept I want to get with that, right? I want to get Luke chapter 19, right? It's when Yahushua was in the temple. Yeah, Luke 19, and you start at verse 39, right? It says, yo, and some of the Pharisees from among the multitude said unto him, Master, rebuke thy disciples. I mean, they said that because his disciples were saying, the Son of the Lord has come, right? Verse 40, it says, and he answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. So Yahushua basically told them, if the disciples don't sing of his praises, the stones can cry out. You see, that's how come we have to always lift up our voice as a trumpet and profess this word and preach the word and preach the coming of the Lord. You see, because if we don't do it, the stones can do it. You see? So when we read on, it says, and when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. He looked upon the wickedness of the people. He looked upon how they made, the temple a den of thieves. He looked upon the state of the people. You see, he wept. Look at the wickedness what our people doing now. When when us who in this truth see the wickedness of our people, it makes us feel some type of way. It makes us mad. It makes us it makes us sad. But it also makes us happy that we know this truth. You see, it says here, verse 42, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belonged unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. So he's telling them, but if y'all would know the things will bring you to peace, y'all would do better. But the things will belong to peace is hid from y'all. You see, your eyes can't see the things will belong to peace. When we look at it this day, us who in this truth, we know the things will belong to peace. It's truth. But as much as we reveal it to our people, as much as we, as simple as we break it down, as plain upon tables as we make it, as beautiful as you bring on the scripture, our people ain't gonna see it because it is hid from their eyes. Let me get that Luke. Let me get it in a different translation, right? That Luke 19:42, right? Get it in a different translation. These different translations go on. This is the BSB. It says, and said, if only you had known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The easy English says, you need to know what you should do to live without trouble, he said. You need to be well with the Lord. But now something is hiding these from you. And as you can see now in these days right now, our people can't seem to get it. Like something hiding this truth from them. As basic as we make it from them, something hiding it from them. And we know what it is for hiding it from them. The Lord hiding it from them. He don't want them to get it. Right? We'll come back to that later. Right? So verse 43 says, for the Luke 19 and 43, for the day shall come upon thee that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee round and keep thee in on every side. Now think about that. You're surrounded. No way in, no way out. Your enemy surrounded by you. What that sound like? You see? That sound like a time to come. That sound like Jacob's trouble. You can't move nowhere. Verse 44 says, and shall lay thee even will lay thee even with the ground, meaning push you to the ground, and thy children with thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. And the visitation is very near. Look how things going on in the world right now. You see the wars going on, the false sense of peace, you know. They call it peace, but war in their heart, boy. War in their heart. You see? The visitation is near. And as much as we preach it to our people, as much as we make it plain to them, they don't care. They continuing on inside their everyday life. They partying, they drinking, they carrying on, they committing adultery. That's a big thing what's going on now, you know. But they don't care. So when the time of visitation come, they ain't got no cloaks for their sins because all of them heard the truth. This truth gone out to the four corners of the earth. And basically every language you could think of, it plain as day, it right there. A click away. We can't even hide no more. Even the AI in agreement with it. It can't. This truth can gainsay nor resist. You cannot gainsay nor resist when it comes to this truth because it is what it is. It stands alone. It needs no alibi, right? So, in the time of visitation, a lot of these people can get caught unawares because they wasn't being vigilant. They wasn't being watchmen for the Lord. Verse 45 saying, he went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold therein and them that bought and them that bought. When you think about that, think about them pastors were selling this truth. We're locking people inside their churches saying they gotta donate this certain amount of money. What telling them, the rapture coming on this particular day. What selling this truth, selling lessons. The most I give you this for free. How dare you sell it? But then they selling something what wasn't given to them. All they doing is selling lies. You see, that's the only thing they doing. How you could sell this truth? Hmm? That's like you trying to sell a breath of air. How you could try to sell a breath of air and it ain't your choice when you take one in or take one out. The Lord determines that. The Lord determines all these things, but yet you trying to sell it. You see, verse 46 says, saying unto them, it is written, my house is the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. You see, the scripture also says a man ought always to pray. You see, the Lord say, my house is the house of prayer. Where prayer is where the Lord is be present. You see, and when you call upon the Lord in prayer, he hears, but I know for a fact the Lord hear our prayers, but I know that for a fact. The Lord made himself manifest himself multiple times, speaking for myself and speaking from the testimonies of brothers that I came across. The Lord is hear our prayers, you know. But the Lord, these pastors and things who praying for riches and all these other manner of things when they get it, the Lord giving that to them for their detriment. You see, and they riding all these fancy things, but their members hurting. You see, the time of visitation is now. You know, it's being revealed. The article what I brought out with these electromagnetic waves and such. All these different things coming out. Esau science is being turned is revealed to be ultimately to be trickery. And we can't help but use these devices because they made it so readily available. But we using it to forward the ministry of the Lord. You know, Verse 47 says, but and he taught daily in the temple but the chief priests and the scribes and the chief of the people sought to destroy him. So when you're doing the work of the Lord, when you're doing right, it can always be some mess of people that are trying to mess you up. When you following after the Lord, when you're teaching the words of the Lord, is evil will always be there trying to cause you to slip up. That comes with the territory. You see, verse 48 says, and could not find what they might do, for all the people were very attentive to him. You see, so when they're trying to figure what they could do with him, they can't do nothing with him. When you following the Lord, they could try to. The weapons may form against you, but they ain't gonna prosper. You see, trip you up, but they ain't gonna succeed. Ultimately, the Lord will work in your favor. Whatever door they think they shut, the Lord open up a bigger one. Whatever door they or trap they dig for you to fall in, the Lord can give you something to walk over it. Whatever weapons they may try to form against you, the Lord can make sure it don't prosper once you follow Him in sincerity and in truth. And we understand anybody in and us perfect, but a lot of times we fuck up. We slip up. A lot of times that happen. But as long as you follow the Lord in sincerity and in truth and do what's required of you, whether it be teaching, well, you have to teach the gospel. You know, you have to be brotherly. You have to give your arms. You have to be your brother's keeper. That's one of the most important things. That's one of the royal laws. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. You see, you have to do these things. And if you love your neighbor, you're going to do things to him to cause him to go off. When you come across information that could be helpful to him, you can share it. You can keep it to yourself. You see, all these things are required of us. All these things are required that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai require us to do. You see, but these preachers these days, they ain't teaching that. All they teaching is bring your tithes, bring your offering, and push out. The church need a new roof. But Sister Shirley down in the back roof been leaking for what 2-3 years now, but they ain't help her. She got catch bust the church giving her last been tithe and offering, and they ain't helping her. They tell her go ask the Lord. But the Lord is laughing at people at them dancing away. The Lord is laughing at those things, looking at the stupidity of our people. But again, it ain't for it just ain't for them. you know. And the goal is that if when we see it, we just laugh because we know better. And to Wadi Abashimi Abashah, we know better. You see, these scriptures is only for the elect. We went to this a lesson, like this the other day. You see, Jeremiah 3 and 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. You see that? Our apostles and our elders. You see? They were the ones given to us to feed us with the knowledge that we are able to feed y'all. But see, y'all can't digest it because it ain't for y'all. You see, if this truth ain't for you, no matter how plain it is, you ain't gonna be able to get it. As sweet as this meal is, as sweet as this honey is, as beautiful and put together as this meal is in these scriptures, y'all can't even pick up the fork or the spoon to try it. Some of y'all may be able to pick up something and taste it, but y'all can't chew. Y'all don't have the know how to chew it. Y'all don't know how to eat this. Y'all don't know how to eat this roll. You see, because it ain't for y'all. Y'all eyes are blinded to this. You see? But our instructions is, fear Yahweh, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. You see? The time of visitation is now. Turn to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and turn from your wicked ways. You know. Now, before I close out, I wanna share a dream that I had last night, right? And according to the Book of Sirach, dreams are, you know, basically face to face or one thing, pertaining to the next, right? No, yo, get that precept. It's just the book of Sirach. It's 33. Lock, yeah. Sirach 34. Sirach 34 and 2, right? Now we read with understanding. It says, whoso regarded dreams is like him that catcheth out a shadow and falleth after the wind. The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face. Of an unclean thing what can be cleansed, and from that thing which is false, what truth can come? Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain, and the heart fancy it as a woman's heart in travail. If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them. For dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. The law shall be found perfect without lies, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth. Right now, I want to share this dream that I had. Now, I was I was in this particular area, more or less my in-laws them house, right? And I was inside the garage, and I was working on something, and out of the blue, like hundreds of people, showed up, different shades from light skin straight to dark skin, different shades of people showed up, like hundreds of people. And man, their eyes, some had blue eyes, some had green eyes, some had red eyes, some had crystal clear eyes. They had beautiful eyes. They were beautiful, but their attitudes was stink. Boy. When I say stink, like imagine the worst attitude person you find and multiply that by 10. They had stink attitudes. And when they showed up, they just start fucking with people like around the area. So there's one particular one. He had like crystal eyes, boy. And he came to me and he looked at me. Like he had this attitude on him and he started talking. When I look at him, yeah, like I didn't pay no mind, be like, yeah, all right, that don't really move me. And he looked at me and his demeanor changed from a angry, like mad tone to like, oh. And he pointed at me, you different. He said, just said that, you different. So I say, what you mean by that? So I looking at these hundreds of people, right? And I asked somebody who y'all is, where y'all from? He say, we the Moors Islanders. I say, Moors Islanders. Now I go and this in my dream now. So I go on the phone and I call the brother Desire One. I say, Hawk, after we salute, I say, "Hey, Hawk, you know where Moors Island is?" He say, no, boy. I say, boy, where that is, boy. And it's later on revealed, you know, uh when I wake up that I Google it where Moors Island is, and that's like a island, in our archipelago, right? So I say, Desire, where Moors Island? But I don't know. I say, boy, these random people pull up. I say, couple hundred people, boy, and they just walk around fucking with people, boy. He said, but yeah, but they demons, but they spirits. I said, they spirits? He said, yeah. He said, boy, they 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 demons of feelings. I said, feelings. He said, yep. He said, boy, if a person mad, a mad Mars Islander would hop on them and make them even madder. If they sad, a spirit will hop on them, make them even sadder. If they happy, a spirit will hop on them and make them happy to the point where they go crazy, right? And he said, boy, be wary of them. I said, boy, just watching them, boy, they hopping on these people left, right, and center. He said, yeah, the time of visitation now. I say, can. And then I hang up. So when I check stock, right, the same one with it approach me who tell me I was different, you know, he he pointed, he said, now watch. I said, watch. He said, yeah, just watch. We come for all these people out there. I said, all the people. He said, every last one of them, we come for each and every one of them. And in my mind, I think, but it's only a couple hundred, how you can handle all these people? But boy, they was hopping on people left, right, and center. But I mean, like adultery was being committed, murders was being committed, all manner of things. Like people were really susceptible to this, and they were saying, "Boy, women are really mostly susceptible to this. That's their favorite prey to go after the women. Those are feelings demons. They love the prey of women and weak men. You see." So that's how come in this time now we have to be diligent and vigilant Even you have to be mindful of how you deal with matters. You can't let your feelings get the best of you. You see, because you can have women out there. You think they down with you, they go over there, they commit adultery. And once they do that, you know what you got to do, right? You got to push them out. Taking them back. We coming in the times of Jacob's trouble, whereas, but when you tell them walk, they better walk. Because if you tell them walk fast and they walk slow, but they get left behind. Ain't no looking back. The time of visitation is now. Ain't no time to look back, but it's just forward progress. You see, and if it ain't growing, it dying. So when they taking back to the dream, after I had to finish that conversation with this I one and the one with the time we say, but you just watch they taking all these people, that's when they wake up. And then they woke up to, today they had they had a strike, like this one of the biggest strikes I ever see in this country. But and I mean like these people were out there carrying on, but because the government was taking long to pay them their money. The government owe plenty money to people. So these people when they was out there, they was in a heightened state of feelings, but you had a lot of women, talk about a crazy amount of women out there, and all of them in a heightened emotional state, letting their feelings get the best of them. One of them who was actually the activist for it, who was really pushing it. You know, everybody was down with her, but it was certain things when she started to say. You can see she got emotional about it, but so everybody's like, "Hold on, now, this sounds like some personal vibe what you got going on," you know. But Akim, the time so we coming in now, the time of visitation now. Be mindful of how you conduct yourself. Be mindful of how you deal with certain situations. These demons and these spirits, so they are coming out there to test you, but they can pluck on your heartstring. They can use love. They can use hate. They can use envy. They can use lust. They can use famines. They any and everything are they disposal, but as a roaring lion seeking whom they may devour. They can use your children, they can use your wife, they can use your parents, they can use friends, they can use you, or they can try to use you. You have to be mindful of the time what we in. You see? Sirach chapter 2 says, my son, if thou come and serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. James 1 and 12 say, blessed is the man that endured temptation. But when he is tried, he will receive the crown of life that Yahweh has promised to those that love him. The trying times coming. You see, we have to be mindful, we have to be vigilant of the times coming. Because if you fall off or if you ain't rooted in this truth, boy, you're gone, boy. If you turn back and you look back to the world, you're gone. But with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Akar Kadash, Wa Abad Babal. Shalom. Shalom.